Good evening, everybody. My name is Josh Hamilton. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm an engineer paramedic with North Metro Fire Rescue. I've been here for 14 years. It's been an awesome career. It's been a fun career, and we look forward to talking to everybody tonight and answering all of your questions. Tonight, if you have questions for us, we're really looking forward to those for the most part. We're going to fill in a lot of time with some of the questions we have and information that we have. But please put your questions in the comments of the videos below. I am joined tonight by 3 other North Metro employees, and I am going to let them introduce themselves.
My name is Grace Mackey. I'm a firefighter EMT here with North Metro. I was hired in August of 2021.
Hi, my name is Deb Van Wanseel. I have been here 20 years in January, and I'm the training center coordinator. So when you come on board with North Metro, we'll be seeing a lot of each other.
My name is John Newman, and I was hired with Grace's Academy back in August of 2021.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our department just to kind of fill people in. I know a lot of people have done research and talked to me already, but North Metro has been around for quite a long time, over 75 years. We were established in 1946. We have 7 stations. We cover over 60 square miles in parts of 5 counties, and we cover the cities of Broomfield, the cities of North Glen, north of Denver, Colorado. We're part of Adams County, Jefferson County, Broomfield County, Weld County, and Boulder County. We also cover more than 125,000 people that work here and live here. We have a variety of different parts of our district, from airports to freeways to residential to commercial. We have oil and gas, we have open space, we have lakes, we have a river, we have a good variety. It's quite the unique district. Last year we ran over 13,500 calls. In those 7 stations we have 6 engines, a truck, 5 medic units, and a variety of other apparatus we can talk about later. We're here for you tonight. We're excited to answer all your questions. We have a bunch of other information for you, like I've already said, and please put your questions in the comments box for us so we can follow along. To start off, we're just going to jump right into our hiring process. Miss Debbie is going to give us a little bit of information about it. Let's start off with, when are we hiring?
Absolutely. So we are getting right into hiring this year. So most people have taken either the iOS test or the NTN test. That will be the list we will pull from for scores. So if you haven't taken that, you still have an opportunity to take the NTN test. Please do that, because we are going to be pulling applications and results from that test on the week of November 7th. And then here's a couple dates you might want to jot down, just so you know. So you will be notified probably right soon thereafter, November 7th. Then we're going to do, if you're a paramedic, we do an like a skills assessment test, and that'll be the week of November 28th. Then we will do, for EMTs and paramedics, we will do general assessment, and I can go into more detail about that soon, but that will be for paramedics November 30th, and for EMTs December 1st. Let's see, chief interviews will be held the week of November 12th. And then we will send some final job offers, or I'm sorry, some conditional job offers the week of December 12th as well. So basically, after that, once you get a conditional job offer, we'll put you through some a medical physical, a phobia test, and we will be doing background checks as well, and then medical drug screens, and final job offers will be given January 30th. We are going to plan on hiring March 1st, and then the academy will start March 13th. So it's going to happen pretty quickly once things start rolling.
That's great. I know that March 13th might seem a long ways away, but it gives people time to relocate, finish up their current jobs, anything else that they need to do beforehand. I had a total of 10 days to move to Colorado.
Yeah.
And it was exciting, but it was absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. How many are we hiring this year?
We are planning right now on 7. We're going to be hiring 7 at least, and it could go up. The numbers could go up.
Yeah, it seems like
based on need.
It's definitely one of our smaller academies in the recent years. But that being said, we are going to be opening 2 new stations in the next 5 years.
Yes.
That includes a whole nother 2 engines, another medic unit. We're talking 33 more
Absolutely.
in addition to this 7, so 40 more in the next 5 years.
Right.
That's a crazy big number.
Crazy big
it's
number.
Awesome. It's
Yeah,
super exciting.
It's exciting.
All right. Let's talk about the iOS and the NTN test real quick.
Okay.
iOS is already closed.
Correct.
That closed in the middle of October, but people still have a chance to take the National Testing Network or the Fire Teams test. Is that right?
They absolutely do. So if you can log on to the NTN site, National Testing Network site, they have multiple times and dates that you can still, take that test, which is fantastic. So I definitely encourage you to do that and study up, for sure, yeah.
Good. Awesome. So people are applying, but before they might test really soon, what certifications, what do we require prior to inviting people to the interview process?
Absolutely. So if you take the iOS or the NTN, you'll have the opportunity to upload your certifications. So North Metro requires a current state of Colorado EMT or paramedic certification. You have to have a valid Colorado driver's license, and the CPAT test must be current as well. So that's a physical agility or ability test. And I think John will be speaking more on how you obtain that and what that entails. But that is basically all we require. You must be 18 years or older.
Just to clarify one thing with that, you don't have to have a Colorado driver's license for the interview process, but you
Not
do prior to...
Conditional job offer.
I thought it was right before academy. Doesn't matter, we'll figure that out for the actual driver's license when you get hired, right?
Right, that's a condition of employment. So I'm sorry, you're right.
That's okay.
Yeah, you have to have it by the final job offer.
Great. John, we were talking about the candidate physical agility test. That's one of the things that we require coming into. It's a standardized test for firefighters across the nation. It's one that we've gone to, and it's a good test. Can you tell us a little bit about it, John?
Absolutely. So if you're based here in Colorado, there's a couple different places to do. You can take that. You can take it over in Greeley to Ames, or you can do it down in Colorado Springs. But just Googling CPAT testing locations should give you a couple different resources that you can look at there. But essentially what this test is designed to do, it really just mimics different aspects of our job, the physical components, if you will. So that really starts with a 3-minute stair climb with weight, and then you just progress into different stations. The next station, I believe it's confined space, tool carry, dummy drag, a ladder raise, and then you also have ceiling breach and pole. So another thing you can Google would be just taking a look at the videos that are out there of people actually going through that. And so there's definitely a plethora of resources that you can prepare yourself for that. And then, of course, just doing the physical workouts and things like that on your own to make sure that you are adequately prepared. So,
Debbie, do you want to add anything about the hiring process? You gave us a lot of good dates and times. Is there anything else you want to add to that one?
Oh, you bet. So kind of what to expect for the hiring process. If you are invited to come to, the Paramedic Assessment Center, if you're an EMT, you do not have to go through that process. But if you're a paramedic, we do have a paramedic assessment process. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a written test, and you also have to go through a scenario and then a medical assessment. So that will be given as well as, let's see. And then after that, if you pass that process and you're invited onto the general assessment, that will be conducted. Basically, we have 2 interview panels that consists of 5 online personnel, of our online personnel, 2 different interview situations where you're just answering basic interview questions, and then a written exercise. So once that's completed, you will be ranked and go on to a hiring list. At that point, the Civil Service Committee will certify that list, and we will do the chief's interviews based on how you performed in that situation.
Sounds like a lot. A lot of interviews. It sounds very intimidating, but It's what you have to do to get hired at any job, and it's pretty neat to be able to talk to
Absolutely.
firefighters first and our administration people first. It's pretty neat. We also bring in community members as part of those panels. Interview. Firefighter interview. John,
Yes.
can you run us through some of your advice on preparing for the interviews, as from a firefighter perspective? John has been there before, really recently, and so he'll be a good resource to give us some insight into that.
Absolutely. I think there's a couple different ways that you, or at least that I prepared for it. And I think just initially, the first thing to do is just rehearsing and answering questions. And so one of the things that I did was write down some questions. I gave it to friends, family, and then I practiced just answering those questions to them. And that way, when you walk into a room, it's not the first time you hear yourself responding to something. And so you have an opportunity to change and better articulate the response that you want, so that it's tailored to that question. It also enables you to get to practice and just realize where your life experience really complements this job. And so I guess secondly to that, I would say one of the really big ways to prepare for an interview, regardless of whether it's with us or somebody else, is doing your due diligence on the department. You really need to know like our core values, you know, a lot of the things that Josh led with about our department, where we are, what we cover, things that differentiate us from others. Knowing that and being able to come in there and also speak to that intelligently inside of the questions and your responses to them really just shows that you prepared in advance. And that shows that you want to be a part of North Metro. And that's really important to be able to do that. So a couple other ways, you know, to think about as you're preparing your questions and you're preparing your responses is know your why. Like, why do you want to be a firefighter? I think that's really, it's a very unique position, and we're entrusted with so much respect from the community and everything else like that. It's like, why do you want to be here? You know, why do you deserve to be here? I think that's, you need to be able to understand and be able to articulate that in a very thoughtful and pragmatic way, and having a why that you can speak to emotionally inside of an interview, and just being able to help convey that will really set you apart from other people. I think knowing the core values of North Metro, being able to speak to that, and then also having stories that speak to our core values, 3, 4, 5 different stories that just highlight your capabilities will also be able to set you apart. Just, you know, people who tell stories and everything else like that, that's people that you want to be around, for one, and two, it just can help articulate and just show real world examples of how, you know, different situations that you've excelled in. And so, of course, these are going to be behavioral based questions, of course. And so we want to see how you behaved in certain circumstances. And so being able, again, back to the Google, if you will, do your research. There is a host of questions out there that are based upon, that really just target firefighter interviews. And so you can just target, you know, firefighter interview questions. And that's a lot. That's where I started. So just do your research, have things prepared there, written down, and then going back and rehearsing that. So
yeah, practice.
Absolutely.
It makes a huge difference in presenting yourself really well. We're going to take a little pause. We have a couple of questions from people out there. It's fantastic. Thank you. From The Missing 8, do you pull resumes off NTN, or will you invite applicants to our interviews based on scores? Do you want to shoot that one, Debbie?
Sure, absolutely. So North Metro actually pulls scores if you are in the top 70%. They will pull your information, and they will go through diligently each and every application that you've submitted to invite you to the assessment center. So you have to be in the top 70%, or 70%. You have to get 70% or higher to even be considered, is my
Yeah,
point.
we'll be pulling test scores from the National Testing Network and the iOS consortium test. So either one, you didn't have to take both, or one or the other. We're going to pull from both test banks.
Right, so you don't have to actually submit a resume, we'll pull from those.
Correct.
Yes.
Awesome. Another question from Clayton. What is the quickest route to getting an EMT certification? Anybody know? My best guess, it's been a long time since I've been in EMT school. A long time. But I know that there's online courses right now. You have to have your actual national registry or your Colorado state by our conditional offers, which is coming up the week of December 12th. So
Correct.
That's a very short timeline. I would be amazed if that's possible between now and then, unfortunately. But like I said, we're going to be hiring a lot of people in the next 5 years. We have all the stations opening, and we'll be hiring every year. So a great way to do it around Denver, I know, is almost every community college does it. High school programs and technology schools are starting to have EMT programs. There's hospital-based EMT programs. What am I missing? Where else can you get your EMT?
You can definitely do that. Ames Community College for sure. I actually heard, and I don't know, I just heard this like 30 minutes ago, but there is a program out now that you can get it in 1 month, which sounds insane to me, but you go every day, 8 to 5, like a regular job, Monday through Friday, and you can get it in 1 month. I do not know who's offering that, but that's something to look into for sure. Front Range Community College as well, they offer that. And Denver Health, yes.
For that 1 month program.
That 1 month program might be Denver Health, but I did hear that there was a 1 month program out there, so something to look into, but that sounds tough.
The excitement, yeah, that's great. If you have that much enthusiasm and you can do it, like, awesome, do it.
Absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Those are a couple questions for now. Let's get back into our little, Debbie, while you have the mic, can you talk about the Academy schedule?
Absolutely. Okay, so the Academy will begin on March 13th, like I mentioned. It is, like everybody has mentioned, it's an intense academy. It's a 16-week academy, and you will go, basically it's set up as a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So you'll have Wednesdays off, and it's 10 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, with Wednesdays off. So 10-hour, 40-hour, or 10 hour
10-hour work days.
Wow, 10-hour work days, 40, yeah, during the week. And so you will definitely love your Wednesdays off.
That's pretty awesome
definitely
schedule.
Guarantee you, yes.
2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Occasionally, we have a holiday within that 16-week period, and then you do just 4/8. So, but you will definitely value that Wednesday off, I promise.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. That's
And
very
it's
helpful.
16 weeks.
Yeah, we were able just to do a lot more during an academy day in 10-hour days because of setup and cleanup and repetition and trying to get everybody through. So 10-hour days are much easier for us to work with, and it gives people more chance to rest.
Absolutely.
It's like a rest day in the Major League. It doesn't happen very much.
Absolutely.
The World Series tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, what are some of the best ways that someone can prepare for the Fire Academy?
Yeah, so as Debbie said, it's an intense 16 weeks. I think there were things looking back. I mean, you can always learn looking back, but things I wish I had done differently. And some of those things, just passing them on. So physical fitness is a huge part of our academy. It is a grueling 16 weeks. You have daily PT. Every skill you do demands strength and requires strength and stamina. My biggest piece of advice is don't wait until you get the conditional offer to start working out. Create a physical fitness routine now and stick with it. Make sure you're prioritizing protein, you're prioritizing sleep and water intake and your workouts, because like I said, it's physically demanding. You're going to go home tired and sore every single day. So starting that now will really set you up for success. I think one of the biggest surprises to me was just the amount of academics, extremely academically demanding. You do have weekly tests. You're studying from the IFSTA Firefighter Essential book. A lot of your time is spent in the classroom, but I was really surprised at the amount of time spent outside of the classroom and outside of the academy in my own free time that I was studying. North Metro has high expectations for your test scores. It can be draining, the amount of studying, but it's your job, you're getting paid for it, and it's not impossible because we've all been there, done that. I'd say the other thing is prepare your family. It is a demanding 16 weeks. You will be coming home, you will be tired, you will be sore, you will have a short fuse. But preparing them, I think, ahead of time and just kind of giving them some insight into what those 16 weeks involves is critical to ensuring that they can support you throughout that process. Academy is a lot of fun. I loved it. It was a grind. It's like I said, demanding, but preparing yourself now is critical to ensure your success, not only in the academy, but also preparing you for when you come online and you are aligned personnel.
Yeah, that's a huge point. It's a family thing, and you absolutely know that on graduation day. All the families are there, all the kids are there, everybody gets together. It is a huge celebration. Everybody's been through it, so I think everybody feels those emotions immediately. I think another one of the things that's awesome about the academy, you make your best friends there. Like, I hung out this last weekend with 5 guys that I went to academy with. There was only 5 of us in our academy, and it was so much fun just to get together with everybody. I mean, that was 14 years ago, almost 15 years ago. So you definitely work hard, but you make your best friends. It's pretty awesome. Great, thank you, Grace. We just got another question. What's the number one thing you look for in a North Metro firefighter? I have my answer, but I'm gonna let these guys, whoever wants to go first, go for it.
We can just pass it down the line.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say like resilience and the desire to succeed. You have a lot, I think we see a lot of people with good qualities, but just that desire to learn and that desire to do better. You're going to come in and you can get frustrated because you're not going to be perfect at everything right off the bat, and that was my biggest frustration. But having that constant desire to learn and to push harder and having that personal accountability of saying, I'm not perfect at this, but I am going to take the time and I am going to put in the effort to get better and perfect my skills. So just having like a willing attitude and having that accountability, I think, is critical for anything in life, but especially for being in the fire service.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I would say what I like about our culture and our North Metro people is they come in saying, what can I do for North Metro? It's not the opposite. It's not, what are they going to be able to do for me? Because I think if you put yourself out there and you get involved in so many opportunities that we have that you can get involved in, it just makes you such a better person in general, gives you so much more insight to who we are. So basically just putting yourself out there and just diving head first. I think that's the best thing to do.
I think one of the things that really struck me when I first came to North Metro was the level of humility that everybody had, and everybody's willingness to go drive and, like as Grace was saying, be better, because it's really a team-oriented environment, and you really see that, and there's some incredible people here that we work with, but everybody wants to be better, and there's some competition, but everybody is willing to admit mistakes and get better, and it's pretty inspiring. I love that about North Metro.
Yeah, that's great. I told you I had my answer. Mine's team player. Like, you live with these guys and girls for 48 hours at a time. It's a big deal. You work in the worst conditions, the best conditions. You get to work out, you get to play, you get to cook, but you also work really hard, and that team aspect of our job is the number one thing for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Customer service is a close second, but being a team player, you have to be able to work with others in any situation, because that's what we get into is any situation. Yeah, it's an amazing career. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. Since we're getting into that, let's talk about the culture at North Metro. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Who wants to start with the culture? Yeah, go for it.
I have the mic, so
Our
we'll just
culture at
run
North
with that.
Metro. A lot of fun. Go ahead, Dan.
I think just building upon what I was just saying, so I don't need to be long-winded here, but we're here to serve each other and serve the community, and I think that that's what really differentiates us from a lot of other departments out there. So just our drive to want to be better, and then also just to provide that top customer service to the community.
I like that. So mine's a little different because I'm on the admin side. So I was an only child, and now I have 175 brothers and sisters that never knew I needed, but I needed, and I love them all dearly with all my heart. And I know I'm 100% biased, but I think North Metro is by far the best place in the entire world to work. I can say that hands down. I have loved my life and job and career, but it's been so much more than that because, like I said, even when I retire, I'm going to take all these people with me. But anyway, the culture is incredible because it is family oriented. I guess that's my point. We are a family. People can say that, but we actually are. If one person is sick, everybody's there for them. If one person needs help, everybody shows up. It is someplace so different. I was in corporate America before. It was nothing like the experience I've had here. So, like I said, I love this place with all my heart and soul, and I love the people here. So I think the culture, you can't beat it, for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with what they both said. As Newman said earlier, like the number one thing that stuck out to me when I was going through the hiring process with North Metro was just the humility and just the welcomeness I experienced throughout the interview process. They were in touch with me the whole time. I felt like I was an actual person that they were interested in and not just another number or name on the list. Debbie called me to confirm I had my CPAT, and I got off the phone and I was like, I want to work for that organization for the rest of my career. But yeah, Megan asked, what do you love most about working at North Metro? And I think that really ties into the culture. I think that's a huge part of it. The number one thing I love is that family aspect. Like Josh said, you're working with these people for 48 hours at a time, and it can be taxing, it can be draining, but I work with some amazing people in that constant desire to support each other when you're on shift and off shift, but supporting each other on shift and that constant drive to, push each other to be better. People say iron sharpens iron, and I definitely see that here with all these amazing people, whether it's, like I said, on shift or off shift. So that's definitely my favorite thing about working here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. That was very good. I'll just add a little bit to it. I think over my career, the culture's been awesome. It's a very challenging career. We work hard and we play hard and we train hard. We take pride in our skills here, and that's why we train so hard. We work very hard on our EMS skills. We have an awesome EMS division, and we take pride in our EMS. It's a lot. It's a huge part of our call volume, like 70% if you want to play the numbers or more. So it is a big aspect of it. We take a lot of pride in that. We have good relationships with our medical directors. But getting back to the culture, that working hard and studying hard and making sure you're on top of everything for the work side of things. Outside of work is the other awesome, fun culture thing. I can't tell you how many ski trips, camping trips, desert trips, rafting trips I've been on with our friends here. It's amazing. So doing things outside of work, we have a firefighter gala, and we have awards ceremonies, shift breakfasts, we have softball, bowling, all sorts of other fun events, golf tournaments. They're always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. So it's a really, really spectacular culture. It's been really fun. All right, we got another question. John, do you want to talk about what schedule we work and the benefits of that schedule? What you like about the schedule?
Absolutely. What's not to like about having
Right?
4 days off in a row, So we work 48 hours on and then 96 hours off. I mean, just being able to, you are on and you can be on just straight up for 48 hours, right? It doesn't happen all the time, but it definitely happens, based upon where you're stationed at. But, being able to roll off and then have 4 days to, recover, rehabilitate, be with your family is pretty incredible. And I don't know of anything else, any other job that really compares to that. So I think it's really a big draw, at least there was for me when I found out what the schedule was that North Metro had. I know a lot of other firefighters have, Kelly's schedule and everything else like that. And there's, a whole host of very different variations. But I think just, working 2 days, you earn your 4 days, that's for sure. And then you get to play, during your 4 days off. So I love it.
Yeah, it's neat. It also, is a good schedule. We have people that live all over the state, literally all over the state. They live in the mountains, they live in Colorado Springs, they live in Fort Collins, Buena Vista. One crazy guy even lives out in Carbondale area. It's a long ways away. But yeah, it allows people to live with their families where they want to. They commute once a week.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Awesome. Thanks, John. Jerry asked a question, what are the opportunities for an EMT to become a paramedic? And does North Metro have a program, or will they help you find one? Miss Grace, would you like to talk on that one?
Front and center. I'm currently trying to enroll through this process with North Metro right now. So I'm an EMT basic. When I came onto North Metro, that was also a selling point, is that North Metro will send you to paramedic school if you do have the interest. Currently we're going through Denver Health's program. So you have to go through a selection process through North Metro. You have to go through an internal interview process with them before they decide if they'll send you or not. And then you'll have to go through an interview with Denver Health as well to get accepted into their program. I think the biggest selling point for me is I know a lot of people who work for a lot of departments and they want to become paramedics, but then they have to work their paramedic schedule around their firefighting schedule, and it can be a lot of stress working a 48-hour shift and then trying to go to school full-time. One unique thing about North Metro is they'll pull you offline and send you to an accelerated program through Denver Health. So it's a 6-month program, and that is your sole responsibility. They'll pay you your salary. You go to school 5 days a week. You get to go home and sleep in your own bed every night. And then you get to come back and function full-time as a paramedic here. So like I said, that's something I'm working through right now and trying to enroll in that process. And it's been a huge opportunity for growth, especially being a new firefighter. It's a huge opportunity, and like I said, a huge selling point for me working for North Metro.
Yeah, absolutely. Sending someone to medic school on our dime is pretty cool. We take them completely offline, and it's a good opportunity for sure. It'd be tough to work 96 hours on, 48 hours off on medic school.
Yeah.
That would be a lot. Great. We got a bunch more questions coming in. I really appreciate it. Angie, this is kind of a team question for sure. What do you guys do to keep a positive environment when you see negative and scary things out in the field? Does anyone want to stab that one? You want me to go for it? Go ahead. Do you guys want it?
No, I'll start and then pass the mic to Newman, because I think everyone kind of has different experiences with what they view as negative or scary. Again, this goes back to the culture of North Metro, is that we do support each other. You know, you do run bad calls, you are up all night, you do see things that humans shouldn't see, but at the end of the day, you have a crew that you get to come back to the station with and you get to debrief, and that's something you went through together, whether it's at 2 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon, and you bond over that. And I think just the desire to support each other is huge, because it can be hard to deal with, but we do have great mental health programs here. We do have great employee assistance programs, and included in our benefits, and I think that's critical for success in the fire service. So again, everyone deals with things differently. So I'll pass the mic to Newman so he can kind of touch base on that as well.
Honestly, I think you nailed it. Yeah, I think everybody deals with traumatic experiences in their own unique way, but just having the different modals of being able to talk to your crew about that, talk with mental health professionals, and North Metro makes sure that you have different avenues to be able to talk through and be able to work through that. But ultimately, I think just having, if we've talked on that team environment, the people we work with here are like family, and when you go through something like a traumatic event, you're going not by yourself, but you're going with other people through that. So you're able to decompress with those individuals as well. And I think that's really important in that process.
It is. Our peer-to-peer is fantastic. Not only do we have mental health professionals, but we have peer-to-peer system within our department that's absolutely super helpful. It's a crazy world out there. A couple more questions. What is the biggest hurdle you didn't expect when first starting a career as a firefighter? Biggest hurdle as a new firefighter. What do you think?
I just right out, just hitting academy, Grace mentioned this, was the academic portion of it. I knew that it was going to be physically demanding, but there's also you need to know the job, right? And just hitting the books really hard. North Metro definitely, as Grace has said, we want to hire the best and brightest, and you know that right when you get here. So be prepared for that. But I mean, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You're surrounded by excellent, intelligent individuals, and that's rewarding to be able to come in and know that you're working with some of the best around. So
Awesome. Thanks, John. I think we're going to keep moving down the questions a little bit. Miss Carey asked, are you planning on combining the Metro fire departments? If so, how would that affect your schedule? Reasonable question. We have North Metro, South Metro, West Metro, right? All the Metro departments, but there are also a bunch of North area departments. There's no plan on merging right now. We are a great sized department. You are not a number at our department. We know everybody we work with, which is a fantastic feeling when you show up for an overtime shift or a trade. You know who you're going to be working with, and you're not even on the same shift. Yeah, we're not going to be merging anytime soon. So there's goods and bads to it. Yeah, and we're not a small stepping stone department either. It's a career place. We have very, very few people leave to go to other careers or other departments. But we have quite a few people come from other departments, which is a really good feeling. All right, Mr. Kev, do you want to add anything else? Good? Okay, good. Kevin asked, do you recommend getting experience as an EMT before trying to start a career as a firefighter? Either of you.
I'll pass it off to Grace here. I didn't have prior experience. I had about a year of volunteer experience with a department upstate New York, and we ran 125 calls in a year, so it wasn't a lot of experience, I would say. No. Not if, when you're coming here and doing 13,000, so it's a bit of a chasm. So it would be, if it helps and you're able to articulate that inside of the interview process, but I don't think it's mandatory. Well, you'll definitely get experience, and there's a terrific field training process that we put people through to make sure that you are up to speed before you're working with patients independently. And I think Grace can expound on that a little bit more as well. So I'll hand it off to her.
Yeah, so I had a couple of years of EMS experience coming into North Metro working as an EMT, as well as some volunteer fire experience. But I also, a lot of the people I was hired with, like Newman said, had no prior experience. I think North Metro's EMS program and the way they value EMS, that's going to help you a lot, because as Newman said, you do go through an intense field training process. So while if you have the opportunity to work EMS before becoming a firefighter, I would 100% recommend that. But I would also say don't let that hinder you from applying to North Metro or applying to be a firefighter because you don't have experience.
Absolutely. Let's jump back into a couple of our questions. Do you want to talk about the special teams that North Metro has? A little bit more about our organization and our special teams.
Yeah, so we have a couple different special teams programs here. We have a wildland team that's local as well as goes on nationwide deployments. We have our hazmat team, which is Antec Rescue, which functions throughout the whole north area and with other departments. We do have airport ops as well as EMS, and then we do have an active honor guard here at North Metro.
Yep, absolutely. That's great. They're pretty cool teams. Yeah, they're always looking for new members, and it's a pretty cool thing to diversify our careers a little bit more. Especially in your first 5 years, it's pretty neat to be able to specialize in something. But then you can also specialize in something else later in your career, or be on several careers. I think there's some guys at our department that are on every team. All right, so let's see here. This one's we've kind of already touched on it. Megan asked, what do you feel is one of the most important attributes of a firefighter should have? Anything else you want to add to that one? Teamwork, resiliency.
Physically fit. Yeah, everything we just said.
Yeah, physically and emotionally strong. I think one of the most important things that we do as firefighters is we go out into the public and people trust us with everything. So having high morals and integrity, that is without a doubt one of the most important things that we do. People trust us just because we're wearing this pretty shirt. But it's true, and we take great pride in that. We would never abuse that. Super serious there. I know, right? Everyone. All right. Let's. We all talked about this a little bit earlier, but really, what sets North Metro Fire apart from other departments? Well, what makes North Metro so great? We don't have to compare ourselves to other departments.
We're not gonna compare
what sets
ourselves.
ourselves? Yeah. Well, I know. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we've touched on a lot of these things with the culture, with our EMS. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is not just feeling like a number. Like Josh said, you get to come to work every day and you know everybody's names, and you're not going to get that at other departments. But also, I think just a couple just quick points is we are progressive in EMS. We do all of our own transports. So you can be working on a fire engine one day and you can be working on a medic unit the next day. I think that's super cool because you have that diversity. And then, like I said, just the opportunity to advance. I mean, you can come in here as a new firefighter. I feel like a lot of egos are put aside here at North Metro. There is that humility, and it's if you're good at something and they recognize that, they're going to put you into that role, and it's not, oh, you have to wait till you've been here 5 to 10 years. They see your potential and they're going to put you in that, whether it is on special teams or going to paramedic school or, you know, helping teach EMS academies. So I think that's one of the things that really stands out to me about North Metro, and I think Debbie can touch a little bit more on the education aspect of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So North Metro is obviously very education driven, and you can kind of see that by everything we kind of do. And the really amazing part of North Metro as well is the paramedic portion is incredible, but also if you want to continue and pursue higher education, like your associates, your bachelor's, your master's, North Metro will pay for that as well, which I don't know how many departments encourage that as much as North Metro does, but we put $2,500 per person into an education fund, so all you have to do is budget for that, and you can, get your associate's, your bachelor's, your master's degree. We had about 50 people in the program that have either started their continuing education or received degrees since we've started that program. So the fact that like Grace said, everybody is so, our board of directors are incredible. They support us 100% in that. Our chiefs are amazing with that, completely supportive of higher education, and they put their money where their mouth is, quite honestly, because they fund it. So it's pretty incredible and amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been speaking to a lot of the reasons why we're a top-notch department. I think Grace really spoke to it pretty well, is the meritocracy. Those who have the skill sets and the drive, will be, promoted and given the opportunities. And a lot of times you have to, wait your time in line and everything else like that. But North Metro recognizes, even if somebody's got talent, put them where they can be leveraged as well. And I think as well, you spoke to it very well. I think just from the top down, board of directors to our chiefs, everyone's extremely supportive of the line personnel and making sure that we have the right tools to succeed in our job. And just being a progressive, especially on the EMS front, Josh spoke to this, 70% plus of our calls are medical. And so we train, of course, a lot on the fire side as well, but we're also doing training on the medical side. And I think that's, extremely important just to be able to be at the tip of the spear with regards to the services that we can provide to our customers out in the field, and then also just, of course, being proficient in the drugs and everything else that we have at our disposal. And I think that's certainly something that sets us apart as well. So there's an expectation that whether you're an EMT or you're a paramedic, you're the best of the best. And we really take pride, and even with the EMTs, we're given a lot of latitude to execute on calls, and we're not micromanaged. And I think that's huge. So I do appreciate that, of course.
Absolutely.
As well.
I have two little quick things on what sets North Metro apart. Departments are challenging, can be challenging, but I think that one of the best things about our district is Our administration and our chiefs are absolutely supportive. Our union is super strong. Those two things don't always go well together, but at our department, we have great communication, we have great ties, we have every other month meetings between union and administration. That relationship is a very strong aspect of our department. It's a great relationship. We have a really supportive board of directors at our department. We have support from the city of Broomfield, the city of North Glen, our counties that are surrounding us, and also our Rotary Club that's within the city and county of Broomfield and our area has been exceptionally supportive, from fundraising and tournaments and people who have gotten sick and needed special circumstances. That's a huge support system that we have here at North Metro. That's fantastic. We've talked a lot about family and culture, and that sets us apart. We also have some brand new stations, some brand new remodeled stations, plans to remodel another station, plans to build 2 new stations. We have a new truck, 2 new engines. We have new apparatus already on order and plans to order more for our upcoming stations. That makes a big difference that we have up-to-date apparatus that helps us do our job every day. It's fantastic to have that, especially as an engineer. It's always good.
One more thing on that.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
our training center,
Yes.
$19.1 million. Is that what it was? The cost?
Yeah, that was like 12 years ago.
12 years ago, right? So in the inflationary environment that we're in currently, it's phenomenal. It's leveraged by not just North Metro, but a lot of the North area departments that come in here. The police come in here and use it as well. But it's an incredible asset for us to be able to use. And that's where you'll go and do your academy at. And that's where you'll train at. And it's just, I think that is really incredible to be able to have just direct access to something like that. A lot of the other departments and a lot of places aren't so fortunate to have budgeted for something like that. High-rise tower, residential, multifamily, commercial, a driving track, and of course, we have another bay, maintenance bay, and everything else like that. So I think that's pretty
you can
huge.
tell because we host the North Area Academy. It's
Yes,
pretty cool.
we do.
have 5 other departments that come to our training center, and we do a joint academy. It's pretty cool to be able to host that, and that's
Absolutely.
you're on your own turf, which
Yeah.
is always a good
Which
home
is
field
good.
advantage.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Grace has one more thing to add to that,
Just in general.
or just in general at the end.
Just in general.
Okay. All right. Let's jump around just a little bit here. I'm going to put my lovely wife on the spot because she apparently asked a question. How do you keep your wife happy while you're at work? Do your chores before and make sure the kids are happy also. But it is a good topic to bring up. Family's a big part of our department. It's pretty neat to have a network of wives that talk to each other and support each other, and girlfriends and everybody else that's involved. That's a pretty neat thing. Do you want to speak on that just a little bit, Debbie?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Put you on the spot, of course.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, we have an amazing group of North Metro wives. So we've created kind of a group per se, so we can all get together. And like I said, I'm not a North Metro wife per se, but I love all these women so much that I got to join just 'cause. But it's a great group of amazing, intelligent, fun, witty, crazy women who can support each other and get together, and we do like a paint and sip class every once in a while, or we do favorite gift exchange at Christmas. Just a fun way for the wives to interact and kind of share stories. And not only do the firefighters have their clique per se, the women as well, so it works out great.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Debbie. That's great. It is a fun group of ladies. It's good to see everybody together also.
Yeah, it is fun.
Stephen asked, will this hiring list be used for multiple lists? How long will the list be used for? Do you want to touch on that one, Debbie?
Sure, absolutely. Usually the list is valid for 1 year, and we tend to do a new list every year, but depending on how many amazing qualified candidates we get, sometimes that can be extended by the Civil Service Committee. So just because, you might place maybe 14th on a list, don't don't lose hope, because sometimes that list is extended, and we have done that several times in the past where we've extended the list and pulled from that list as long as there's still those qualified candidates the following year when we do our North Area Academy. So
Great. That's perfect. Yes.
yeah.
Your test scores will be, if we're going to be hiring again next year, your test scores will be good for a full year
Correct. Yes.
from testing.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see here. We have a little bit of time left. I guess we don't really have a time limit, but I want to kind of wrap this up in an hour. What growth opportunities are available at North Metro as far as promotions and EMS? Fire side, EMS side together. Then we want to touch on that one.
We've touched on that quite a bit.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we are constantly creating promotional eligibility lists. We have everything from, oh my goodness, well, new hire, obviously. I think we're doing actually 5 promotional testings next year for a SAMS officer.
Safety and medical
Safety
officer.
and medical officer, sorry, SAM, safety and medical officer. We're doing engineer, we're doing lieutenant, we're doing captain, we're doing battalion chief. So we are constantly
Sending people to paramedic school and testing for that?
Right, paramedic testing, exactly. So we are constantly, like every year, doing multiple different assessment centers for those promotional opportunities. So there is never a dull moment, and you can test at, pretty much whatever you want to do here, you are going to have that ability to test pretty much yearly. So most of our testing eligibility lists remain active for 2 years after you test, but depending on how many, do test, we are constantly creating them, and people are constantly being promoted, which is such an exciting time. I love it when we have promotions. That's my favorite, actually.
Yeah, it is good. It's
I
really
love
good.
it, yeah.
Another good point with that is you don't have to be a promoted lieutenant or officer to be in charge of a program or a committee here.
Correct.
We have a bunch of firefighters that are
Heading committees.
heading committees and being involved and bringing new ideas all the time. We're pretty fortunate to have, we just listen to everybody.
Yeah,
Should
absolutely.
we always listen to everybody? No, I'm just kidding. Yes,
Yeah.
we should listen to everybody. It is great.
And then, Josh, in addition to that, right, we also have the out-of-class route as well. So as you're testing, so for an engineer or officer, you can become an out-of-class and be acting in that capacity without officially being there. So which does give you that requisite skill set so that when you are testing and going before the board, you're even more prepared for that. So that's an advancement in and of itself as well. So.
Awesome. Let's see here. What else should we talk about? We have a whole list of things here. General advice? Sure. Why should someone consider a career as a firefighter in general? What's great about being a firefighter? Anything?
Where do I start? The last 50 minutes. Now, I think one of the things is this profession. So I was in the corporate world and also in the military prior to this. But I think just going out into the public, you're just given this. You're given respect just because of the uniform that you wear, and that's never something you should ever abuse. And if it ever comes to mind, you should never apply. And hopefully you're not. But you want to serve ultimately. But it's just being able to interact with the community and have that level of respect is pretty phenomenal. Being an accountant or something else like that's no knock on them. That's what I was. But it really is much better than that. And I think just because of the community that we have, it's extremely tight knit. It's collegial. There's competition amongst each other, but it's healthy. It's a growth environment, and we're always getting better. And I really look at this finally as a career and somewhere where I want to be in 20 years as part of this family. It's not just North Metro. It's my family. That's the way I view it now. And so I'm really blessed and fortunate to be a part of this. So I'll hand it off.
You know what I?
Well, I'm not a firefighter.
We get to work with Debbie. That's also that is one of the best.
I love these guys.
Yeah, I think we've spent a lot of time touching on EMS tonight, but I say touching on the fire side, like we get to do a lot of cool stuff here, and there are so many times where I go on fire calls or I'm doing trainings with my crew and I sit back and I'm like, this is what I get to do for a living? Like, this is pretty cool. So it is more than just a job, and we do take our training super seriously here because we want to be able to perform at the highest standards and be the best. I will say, without getting on a soapbox for a second, but I will say, like, we talked about authenticity at the beginning and coming into the interview process, and I would encourage anyone coming into the interview process that you take a step back and ask yourself, is this a career field you want to be in? Why do you want to do this? Like Newman said, find your why. You have to be all in this job. This isn't a job where you can come in and only give 50% and only, I'll be invested, 75% of the time. You have to be all in, whether it's trainings, running calls, or, being part of your crew dynamic. And so I would just encourage you, before going through our interview process or any interview process, to ask yourself if that's something you're able to commit to right now, because you can't be bad at this job. I mean, that's just a blunt way to put it, but yeah, like I said, we take a lot of pride here in our fire skills as well as EMS, but in our fire skills and our abilities and our trainings, so you can't 50% it.
No, you cannot. It's a job that matters in real life, in the real world, and yeah, it absolutely matters. You cannot.
You can't call 911.
I want to use some bad
You
words.
can't call.
You cannot be bad at this job. Absolutely. That really wraps up a lot of our questions for tonight. I think that if anybody has any more questions, please post them right now. I'm going to just give a little bit of information about our, if you want any more information, please get on our website, northmetrofire.org, and fill out a firefighter interest form. I've talked to a lot of you already. Looking forward to talking to more people in the coming weeks. You can also sign up for a ride along on there. There's all sorts of, and if you have any other specific questions, please email them to jobs@northmetrofire.org. Pretty simple. I think we did have one more question come in. Do you want to look at this one real quick? Yeah.
No, I'll go for it. I have no shame.
Absolutely.
Well, go for it. So somebody asked, how do I feel North Metro environment is for female firefighters? So, like I just said a few minutes ago, you can't be bad at this job. I have never once felt like North Metro set me apart as being a female firefighter. I never saw any negative treatment or special treatment for being a female. I think, I will say, so I have 7 brothers. I grew up with 7 brothers. I'm part of a big family, so coming in and I'm one of only 5 females on the department. So coming in and working, like my crew is all guys. I have only one other female on my shift. But that was helpful in that. But I think even if I hadn't had that experience, I have had no bad experience being a female at North Metro. But again, that being said, there is no separation, because at the end of the day, you have to do the same job that the guys do. You can't sit there and say, oh, I'm a female, I need to do less reps, I need to, drag a lighter dummy during training, I need to do this. Because at the end of the day, you're required to do the same job. You're required to perform on scene, whether that's, a fire or a big incident. And, I just think at the end of the day, like in the heat and the smoke, your only identity is your ability. So that's what I got.
Good way to put it. That's awesome.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I think that wraps up everything for tonight. I really appreciate everybody out there joining, the questions. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope we can do this again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night, and look forward to seeing everybody. Good luck in your testing.
Thank you.